Hello and welcome to the Mum Boss Method podcast. I hope that you are really well. Today, I want to talk to you about looking for that magic pill and why we all do it, how I've done it, why, the actual reasons why we do it, and how you can change that mindset, and how I've changed that mindset, and how my clients are changing that mindset. Um, I spent years of my life looking for the magic pill, and topically, it's Easter Monday. And I was thinking about this yesterday. Easter was typically one of those times where I definitely kind of got to Easter Monday or went back to work after the long weekend. And I thought, and I was telling myself, oh God, I need to lose weight. I need to lose weight quickly. I need to do something. This is like, it's all been too much. And in my 20s and early 30s, it was the slimming clubs, it was cutting carbs, it was extreme exercise routines. Does anyone remember the insanity exercise routines? Did anyone do that with Shaun T? Shaun T? Was it Shaun T? I think it was. I also like really extreme. I abused laxatives when I was younger, which gave me permanent digestive problems, which occasionally still flare up now. I bought an expensive juicer. Oh my gosh, it was about £130. I'm pretty sure you can get them for 30 quid now. And I tried juicing fruit and veg and just doing a juice diet. That lasted all of about a day and a half and gave me such a migraine, probably because of the lack of coffee. She says as she's sipping her coffee. Mm. I was always looking, always for the quickest and easiest and lowest effort way to lose weight and feel good about myself. And I think in my 20s, I honestly thought there was going to be a quick and easy way. I honestly thought I just hadn't discovered it yet. I just hadn't found that magical way of making this really easy and making it happen in like 2 weeks. Um, but as I started to understand myself more in my 30s, and after having my son, and after going into perimenopause, I realized the quickest way was actually to slow down. Because losing weight is relatively simple, but being simple doesn't mean it's easy. And when I say it's simple, I mean it's that, equation of calories in versus calories out. Listen, there is some nuance to it, but in order to lose body fat, you need to be consuming less calories than you burn or burning more calories than you consume, right? But, you know, it's not easy. And even more than that, losing weight is actually easier than keeping it off for good. And if you've gone round that yo-yo cycle of on the diet, off the diet, on the diet, lose the weight, off the diet, gain it back again, go back on the diet, lose the weight, come off the diet, go gain it all back again, you'll know that keeping it off for good is a whole new way of life in itself. And that's the bit that took me a long time to realize. It took me ages to understand that the long term solution required is a long term approach and long term work. Now, what I don't mean by that is spend your life in a calorie deficit. In fact, I mean the exact opposite of that. And to help you to understand this a little bit more, I want to talk about why we're always looking for that quick fix, that instant gratification, and why that search for the quick fix will often lead you to giving up because you don't see results quick enough. My husband said to me the other day that I have been the queen of instant gratification in the past, and I agree with him. Since being a business owner, I'm a lot better than I was because I feel like I take, my life, my business is so much more at risk than having a salary that I know is coming in every month. But I definitely still show signs of it. And I'm going to give you some examples. So when we got our dog Henry, he's coming up for 8 this year. I completely drove the decision to get him. Tom agreed we could get a dog, and I think it was on a Sunday evening. And I seem to remember my brother was sitting in our living room when Tom said it. And by Tuesday, I had found Henry, and by Friday, we were going to visit him. Now, this week, I bought a spinning bike to help me with my shoot prep. And I decided that I wanted to get one on Monday. And by Thursday, I'd found one that was 10 minutes down the road at a crazy price, and it was in my house by lunchtime. Now, I also see this as being like extremely resourceful, lols, but I know that there are times when I'm happy to pay a little bit more for something if I can have it tomorrow rather than wait until Saturday. And that's because instant gratification is our brain's default setting, even before the invention of, Netflix and Amazon and smartphones. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid discomfort. So, our brain, your brain, loves a quick fix. It loves a sugar hit. It loves the promise of drop £10 in 10 days. Mm. And it always has done. Just maybe the language around that was a bit different. But think about life now. At the touch of a button, we can have things at our disposal instantly. You can have a pizza at your door in 30 minutes. You can order your shopping to come later that day. Like sometimes I can log on to Ocado and I could have my shopping by 9 p.m. that day if I wanted to. You can buy something on Amazon and have it at 10 p.m. or you can have it the next day. So, we are designed to want instant gratification. We are designed to seek out, immediate pleasure and avoid discomfort. But the world as it is, the world the way it has evolved, absolutely ingrains that in us even more. So I want to kind of give you some science to this and tell you a little bit about it and so that you understand the other reasons that we look for that instant gratification. So, like I said, it's hardwired into your brain. It's the pleasure principle because your brain is constantly seeking dopamine, which is a feel-good chemical, right? And that instant gratification gives you that fast hit of dopamine, whether it's sugar, whether it's scrolling, whether it's skipping a workout to go and watch something on Netflix instead. But it's also survival based. So in the past, quick rewards like food meant staying alive. Okay. Now, it often means choosing chocolate over veggies because your brain sees the chocolate as faster wins, right? It's for us that are listening to this podcast, food is not something that is in scarcity. Thankfully, that's not the world we live in. But our brains will still put us into survival mode and go, well, yeah, that chocolate is a quicker win than the chicken and vegetables, for example. So sorry, I'm drinking my coffee. This coffee is so good. I'm really enjoying it. Um, what we also need to think about is our prefrontal cortex versus our limbic system, right? So the limbic system of your brain is your emotional brain. It's the impulsive, the reactive, it craves comfort. If you've ever read The Chimp Paradox, that's your chimp, okay? It loves instant gratification, loves it. Whereas your prefrontal cortex is your logical decision-making brain. It helps you to weigh the consequences and focus on long-term goals. So the problem is that when you're tired, when you're stressed, or your hormones are raging, hello, peri-menopause, your prefrontal cortex, the logical part, gets quiet and your limbic system takes the steering wheel. So you can see why that would be really, really problematic. Something I say often, willpower is a finite resource. Every decision you make through the day drains a little bit of your willpower. And by the end of the day, when you're tired and you may be a bit more emotionally drained, you're most likely to be tempted to reach for the snacks. Your ability to delay gratification is weakened. So think about it. Like, think about if you are an evening snacker, this is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons that's so hard for you to break that habit of, because you have been making decisions all through the day. We make hundreds of thousands of decisions, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of decisions all through the day. Okay. And each of those, they might not be to do with what you're eating or how you're moving, but they all require some kind of willpower or a decision. And so by the end of the day, when it gets to 8 p.m., 8:30, 9 p.m., I mean, I'm talking about my times of the day. For some of you who are more night owls, maybe it's 10, 11 p.m. You've gone through all those decisions. You might be more tired, more emotional. And that's when your ability to have willpower and delay the gratification, because that's willpower is just that, really. It's the delaying of gratification is so much lower. And this is called decision fatigue. And this is why things, something that I bang on about all the time, planning meals, having a routine, setting up your schedule, setting up your week so that it's winning for you is so powerful. It removes that pressure to choose well when you're exhausted, because the decision was made for you by someone who was more emotionally balanced at the time, had more energy, and was thinking straighter. Think about that. Okay, that's the last of my coffee. I'll stop. I'll stop drinking it now. Um, okay, now if we're talking about instant gratification and that being part of the problem here, it's it's then sensible to realize that delayed gratification is linked to our long-term success. So there was a really famous study done or test done called the marshmallow test in the 70s, showing that kids who could wait for a second marshmallow, so delaying the gratification, ended up with better outcomes in life. So academically, emotionally, and even in their relationships. So it was, I might have the specific details of this wrong, but they put some marshmallows in front of children. They told them that they could have one, and then they said they were going to leave the room, but the kids had to wait until the adult came back into the room before they took the second marshmallow. And the ones that could wait until the adult came back in are the ones with better outcomes. So adults that practice delaying gratification tend to do things like manage stress better, have healthier habits, and achieve sustainable weight loss, amongst other things. Now, your hormones, whether you're perimenopausal or not, but I know that in perimenopause, this has been true for me, it amplifies the challenge because the hormonal fluctuations, the reducing of your estrogen, progesterone, also fluctuations in cortisol can increase your cravings, they can increase emotional eating, and they can increase impulsive decisions. Added to that, poor sleep and brain fog, it's no surprise that instant gratification feels more irresistible to you. Okay. So we understand now the logic, the science behind why we're looking for quick fixes all the time. We understand that logically. We understand it emotionally. In the most simple terms, like I've already said, this might be the reason why you skip the workout in favor of Netflix. And you know what? As I was typing up the notes for this podcast episode, I found myself doing it. I picked up my phone and had a cheeky scroll on my social media because I was finding the writing of this next bit of the podcast a real challenge. So this is a perfect example of instant gratification. So I'm recording this on Bank Holiday Monday. And I want to be finished with my work by this afternoon because I've got a whole afternoon where the boys are out and I have promised myself no phone, no work, just some chill time. But I need to finish my work and I need to do my cardio before that happens, right? And so the delayed gratification is getting the podcast written, getting the podcast recorded, getting the work done, right? And this isn't to say that I don't love my work because I do, but the instant gratification in that moment, I was finding it really like that. The next bit of this podcast really hard to write. And so rather than sit here and work through it and be uncomfortable, I picked up my phone and I started scrolling Instagram because that's an instant hit of dopamine. So you can probably see why this all feeds into the really common all or nothing mindset that so many of you have. You can see why you can often be completely on it or completely off it. You can see why you are looking for the quick fix all the time. And I understand it can be frustrating to wait for the results to come. I know that you want the changes you're making to work now. And here's the thing, they are working now. When I started on this journey, I realized that there was so much more mental work to do than there really was the physical work. Yeah, being in a calorie deficit, doing workouts and stuff. Yes, that's hard work. Being in a calorie deficit when you just want to eat the chocolate cake is hard work. Doing a workout when you're tired and you've been really busy and you just would much rather go home and chill is really hard work. But the mental side of this, there is so much more of this, and this takes so much longer. Because this journey of losing weight, of having a strong body, of feeling amazing in your body, in yourself, your confidence, which, by the way, all of those things is so much more than just how much you weigh on the scales, is just so much more than what you look like in the mirror. But there's so much more to it than eating in a calorie deficit for a certain number of months and completing your workouts and doing your steps. Yes, getting to where you want to be requires all of those things, but it also requires like the rewiring of your brain and your thoughts and your behavior patterns. And that's where the real work begins. Because yes, eating well matters, moving your body matters, but what matters even more is what's happening in your mind. In the quiet moments when no one's watching and you're deciding whether to start again or give up. That's what matters. It's not just about what you eat. It's not just about how you move, but it's how to shift that thinking that's keeping you stuck in the loop of all or nothing, the quick fixes and the disappointments. It's about learning. One of the biggest things that I go through with my clients is to learn how to cope with stresses and challenges and emotions without the use of food. That's huge for my clients. Emotional eating is huge. And that's really uncomfortable because for years and years and years, they've used food as a way of coping with stress, with anger, with frustration, with sadness. And this isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. And I talk about that so often. It's about showing up when you don't feel like it. And that might mean doing the workout that you really don't want to do, or getting up earlier, 30 minutes earlier to fit it in, even when you feel so warm and comfy and it's the easiest place to be. Bed will be the easiest place for you to be right now. I often talk about these being the most important decisions, the most important workouts, the most important choices that you're making. Why? Because in that moment, you're choosing your future self. You're building trust in yourself and you're practicing the art of delayed gratification, which is just like a muscle. If you set your alarm to get up at 6 a.m. for a workout and it goes off and you feel warm and cozy, you've got two choices: stay in bed, which is the instant gratification choice, or get up and do the workout. Now, you might not see or even feel the result of doing this immediately, but you're practicing flexing that muscle. You're building trust with yourself by doing what you said you would do. And that shouldn't be underestimated. Learning to sit with discomfort instead of sprinting towards the next dopamine hit. This is a really hard one. Doing new things, doing different things that you don't see the results of straight away. This is the type of work I do with my clients, the things that feel stretchy and are uncomfortable. I've talked about emotional eating a little bit, but one of the hardest things to get my clients to do is to really, really sit with their uncomfortable feelings and not seek comfort from food and drink. Now, we could go really deep with this today. We're not going to, but it's something I'm really familiar with myself. It's something my clients are familiar with. It's something you're familiar with, using food and potentially alcohol as a way of de-stressing, as a way of dealing with your uncomfortable emotions. When we feel the discomfort of these emotions, the instinct is to grab something to make us feel better. What if instead of pushing that feeling down, you sat with it, you felt it, and you felt what it was trying to tell you? And for some of you listening, that might be really, really woo. That might be too woo for you. And you're right, this isn't easy. For some, it's even hard to grasp the concept of what do you mean by sit with my feelings? And like I said, I'm not going to go into that in depth now, but this is all about building strength in your habits, in your routines, in your self-talk, so that you don't need another magic pill. Because the real magic is in the moment you decide you're done with the cycle. Is in the moment you decide after, overeating on a Friday night, right? No, I'm not waiting until Monday. I'm just going to, my next decision is going to count. The real magic is being done with punishing yourself after every holiday. God, that was something I used to do every holiday. Didn't matter if it was abroad or just a 4-day weekend like we've just had. Punish. Absolutely. I'd be in the gym on all the cardio machines, thinking I needed to burn the calories that I'd consumed. Done with chasing your pre-baby body like it's the key to happiness. Here's something for you. I've built a body in perimenopause that looks better than my body before I had Charlie, before I got pregnant. How's that? Done with shrinking yourself for the sake of finally being enough. Here's something. You're already enough. You deserve to feel proud of yourself. You deserve to feel strong. You deserve to feel energized, confident in your skin. Even when your hormones are raging, even when the world is demanding 1,000 things from you. And that starts by you not looking for the quick fix all the time. That starts with you realizing that the shiny little drop 10 pounds in 10 days, drink these meal replacement shakes, they're not the things that are going to help you get there long term. And this is exactly what I work on inside my coaching, not just the body, but the brain as well. The beliefs, the bounce back moments, the boundaries. So I want you to stop Googling what are the next diets, the best diet. I want you to stop waking up hating the way you feel. My clients that are listening to this, if you're struggling, if you've been struggling, I want you to step up and come and be honest with me. If you're not a client of mine and you're listening, I want you to come and hit me up on Instagram or send me a DM or whatever. Come and talk to me because I want to help you. but you need to understand and accept that it's not about the next quickest thing. There's no newfound magic pill that's going to get you there. You know, even gastric surgery, even weight loss injections, which I'm really excited to be getting someone super experienced in this to talk to me on the podcast soon. Even those things are not magic fixes because there's still changes you need to make in the background. Now, if you want to know more about how I do this, I am running a really exciting masterclass telling you all about how I do this on Tuesday, the 29th of April at 8 p.m. I would love to have you come and join me on that masterclass. The link to join is in the show notes. I'm going to teach you all about how you can build your best, most confident, most loved body, but most of all, the strongest, most resilient mind, and just absolutely boss your life on this masterclass. So check the link in the show notes if you'd like to join. I'd love to have you there. Have an awesome day. I hope this has been really useful. I know I got very impassioned at the end there. I'm just super passionate about this. Have an awesome rest of your day, rest of your week, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.